welcome back to episode 2 of the training series. Today we're actually going to be seeing how to actually set up your development environment. So in case you might be working as in you're new into Boomi, how do you actually set up a trial account? How do you actually make leverage of a developer's learning hub to actually move forward? So actually it's pretty simple. So in this training we'll just be doing two things. I'll be showing you how to set up in a trial account. Afterwards, we'll actually go into a little tour about the interface, what the interface consists about. And this Boomi tool is I love this because to do this you don't need to set up anything on your system. I've worked with other integration tools, so you need to actually download some prerequisites, Java, download JDK, or the rest of that. For this, we work on the cloud. Everything is happens on the cloud. Pretty simple. So we'll just be moving on to the next slide. So basically, how do I actually get an account? So it's pretty easy. We go to this website. I'll be going to this later on. Train.boomi.com/login. This will allow us to sign up with an account. But however, there's a little bit of clause here. You can't sign in with your personal account, a Gmail or a Yahoo Mail or a Hotmail. You have to use something that has a company domain name. So however, you can actually look for free emails out there that are customized. You can actually check out Zoho. um, Zoho, it gives you a unique domain name that you can actually use on Boomi for training. It's quite good. You can actually try it out. So actually I'm just going to be leaving the PowerPoint presentation slide, and I'll be going to the browser, and I'll show you how to set up an account and give you a tour about about the environment, what it feels like, a little concept about it. So let's move on. Okay. So like I said earlier on, that I can actually go to train.boomi.com. So this will actually help you get the trial account. So I'm just going to log out. This is a personal account I created. So I'm just going to log out. Yeah. So when you come here, training.boomi.com/login, all you just need to do is to click on sign up. So when you click on sign up, you just fill in this pretty easily. It's quick. The only special thing you need to note about here, in email, you can't use a Gmail. You have to use a custom email. You can actually check out Zoho Mail. This actually gives you a free mail that you can actually use on the site. So I'm just going to, when you do that, it sends an email, a username and password to your box. You click on it, and afterwards you can actually have access to this. So let us actually send into the account you have created. So this is a fresh new account. No integration has been done on it. This is what we are going to be using for this tutorial. It's new, it's clean, and it's perfect for the training we want to do. So we'll be seeing about, so basically this course is centered about the process flow itself and API management. Later, API management will be in the later end of the course. How do we actually push better orchestrate some APIs? So when you actually want to design, this is just the home page. There's no with a lot of buttons, a lot of informations. But however, when you want to actually go into building your first scenario working, you have to click on this button, go to integration. So I'm going to click on this button, go to integration. So I'm just going to explain this to you now. So basically, in one of the key ideas of Boomi is what we call components. Components are reusable resources. So they can be profiles, they can be maps, they can be functions, they can be connections. So like for example, you create a connection to a database, you create a connection to a database. It's a component, so you can actually use it at different points in time. So you don't always have to create a new connection every time you want to call a particular database. So also we've seen profiles, because in Boomi we have different types of profiles. A profile that can be created from a JSON, XML, a flat file, and EDI. So these are sample profiles. So when we're actually working with data, we can convert from one profile to another profile. Scripting helps us to write work here using Groove script. We would also come across Goof scripts, which is something similar that exists in other technologies. It's a new technology. It's not, if you're you've been working in development cycle, it will be actually easy for you to catch up with this. So you can actually create your first process here. You can actually create an API here. So just to quickly show you about some things, with this, there's a build button tab. This gives access to this. You can actually create a process. So basically, whenever you're working with a flow, you're creating a process. Whenever you want to actually work on something that you're actually going to expose an API, so you can actually design it as an API. It gives you better option to better manage your API. You can actually see how many times it was called. You can actually have a lot of interesting metrics from this to analyze your metrics. So this is it's quite interesting. It's an amazing suite. I think Boomi has it's one of the strongest suites when it comes to API management compared to the rest. Very powerful. So we'll just move. We'll be looking at processes, creating a simple process. Hello world in the next tutorial. So, however, we just talk about something in this place. One of the key important areas is an atom and an environment. So, like the concept of we can create a new atom and an environment, which we'll be doing in the next series because we want to join it together with Hello World, create something that's amazing. So an atom, it's what an atom means is just a logical worker, a particular processing unit dedicated to an activity. That's what an atom is. So it's a logical worker, it's a processing unit, it's a processing block. However, for this atom is actually put into an environment. So when you try to create an environment, you're actually creating a test or production environment. So we'll be working. We'll create a production, a test in later series. But throughout the series, we'll just be working with a test environment. With the test environment, you would have access to everything for the training. The idea is after you test it, you can actually move your work to a production. You can actually deploy your work to a production system easily without much changing the configurations. So basically, the idea of the key takeaway here is what is an atom, and the next one is what is an environment. An atom is just a processing block, a processing unit. So it's just like you have your CPU or your dual core. As you move into more, if you actually your organization purchase Dell Boomi, you can actually increase your the processing power of your atom worker. So that's it. It's the same. This is the same idea with other integration technologies. So we can, and the interesting part about is you can actually deploy this on your local system or in the cloud. The local system is just good when you're actually working maybe with a local database. It makes the connection very fast. Maybe you have some things connected on local host on the system. However, because we are trying to use a very realistic scenario, we are connecting with virtually everything remotely in the cloud and the rest. So we won't be setting up any atom locally. We'll be using an atom in the cloud. That's amazing. But to set up an atom locally, it's simple. You just click on local, choose your system version, and you click on download, and it's pretty easy. But to set one in the cloud, you choose a region, and whenever you get a professional license, like your sales manager, your channels manager, they give you get better information, and they give you other. You can actually choose the capacity of your atom, the processing unit of your atom, and the rest. But because of we are working with a trial account, this we are limited to very few options. The next tab that's an interesting tab is deploy. So when you actually deploy projects, you'll be able to track your projects and deployments. So when we'll be working with creating web services, we'll be deploying our projects here. We'll be able to see the projects that have been deployed and the environment it was deployed, the dates, if there are notes. Because one good thing about Boomi or many integrations of Audio is the ability to skip notes, which are not available in other tools or in other development platforms. I'm so an ambassador for integration tools. It's an amazing way of working rather than just doing the microservices the normal way. Mic- uh, these integration tools are awesome in helping us communicate better. We can actually deploy package components. You see, package components will be creating a package component, will be deploying one, and so on. So this is pretty a pretty short series on just a little bit introduction on what to expect. So I'll just go back here. I'll create a process. So I'll just close this, cancel. So basically, when you come here, this is your canvas. This area is your canvas, and all these are shapes. So you have different. You have three categories of three categories. You have the executes, the logic, and the connectors. So the connectors are actually important when you're connecting to an adapter or an application. So you can actually see Salesforce, FTP, Mail, IMAP. You can see POP, SFTP, which we'll be working with. You can see over 100 tools out there. Google Suite, Google Sheets, AdHubs, the amazing tools out there. You can actually connect with this is what the connect tabs are is for. Logic gives us project options what we can how we can process data. In the training we'll be looking at branch, we'll be looking at routes, we'll be looking at return documents stop, we'll be looking at virtually all this, a try and catch statements. This is similar to your try and catch statements in your programming language, but imagine how amazing it is. You can drag and drop this. Then also execute is virtually the basics of the basic of when you're designing a processes. So mapping has to do with when you want to actually maybe convert from one format to another. You want to process data in a particular format, do some operations. You use we are going to actually use map a lot to convert our data to from XML to JSON, from JSON to the rest. So we are going to use the, map a lot. We'll be seeing different scenarios. Then also, Boomi is organized in what we call folders. So basically, you have a folder, a head folder. You can actually and a process library. So what we are just going to do is we're going to for the training we'll create a new folder. That's what we are going to be working with. So the name of our organization we are working for during this course is called We Post. So we are just creating a folder, and this is where everything we are going to work in will reside in, so that it's easy to track. It's easy to see everything. So this will bring us to the end of this. So just one last thing before we just touch the end is this browse process library. So out there, Boomi has given us a lot of things that we can actually leverage. Some because sometimes you might be stuck how to get some things done. With this, you actually see how some samples that are actually that were designed, but the connections to the servers are not actually working. So you might just you can actually search for things here. You install and you actually explore. So in the next tutorial, we'll be looking at Hello World. We'll set up an atom, we'll set up an environment, and we'll create Hello World. So that brings us to the end of this tutorial. Thank you.